on beating. Phoebe awoke with a gasp, sweat lining her brow. "I'm safe," she reminded herself. "I'm not that girl anymore." Returning to sleep took a long time, and so morning found her bleary-eyed and exhausted. This wasn't the first nightmare where she relived the worst of her time at Bentwoods, and it wouldn't be the last, she assumed. It made her even more thankful she'd see her friends in a short while. Her morning was solitary and quiet. She pushed the nightmare from her mind and set about doing the daily work that a house required. Wash the dishes, sweep the floor. It helped. A little. But she couldn't help but think those memories were coming so often because she needed something more exciting in life. Some sort of purpose. Certainly, all this time spent alone didn't help. Sierra and her beau Micah frequently traveled throughout the ports to teach about the importance of keeping fairy magic abundant throughout Alluvia. Her best friend and fellow fairy keeper Corbin and his partner Nell often joined them to help persuade the more reluctant of the villagers. Some might not listen to Sierra, but would come to see Nell, now famous for her prophecies. Phoebe used to travel with Sierra and her friends, part of the important work being done. But Sierra began leaving Phoebe safe at home over 2 years ago, after some dark alchemists attempted to assassinate the team on the road. They failed, of course, but Sierra said she couldn't stand risking Phoebe's safety. Later, Sierra asked Phoebe to stay on the beach instead of swimming in the ocean, and this last trip, Sierra said, "Stay in or near the house this week, okay, Phoebe? For me?" Phoebe scowled but agreed, unable to ignore the stress visible on her big sister's face. And now this happened. Sierra and the others would arrive home later tonight, worn out, no doubt. They were one big family, and Phoebe missed their noisy teamwork when they were all gone. This was one of those times, unfortunately. She set up the beans to cook all day, enough for everyone. She was relieved they'd be home before she had to sleep another night alone. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that skeleton, bits of ligaments and cartilage dangling like old thread. What if the predator wasn't confined to the sea, like the great reptiles that lived both in water and sand in the east? The thought made her wish even more that she wasn't alone. Corbin's parents came by each day to check on her, but of course, today of all days they couldn't visit because of a complicated healing they had to administer. She reminded herself that old Sam, their unicorn, guarded the house somewhere out in his nearby forest. But it didn't help. Her nerves were still stretched raw. Phoebe paced the floor, heart racing. What had Tristan and Mina found out? If only Phoebe could communicate with the merfolk the way Sierra could share thoughts with her fairy queen. The closeness fairies shared with their keepers was the main reason Phoebe had always wished to be one. She never would be, of course. Unlike Sierra, Phoebe didn't have a fairy keeper mark. She wasn't destined for magic. But it would have been nice to share such close contact with her merfolk friends. Phoebe couldn't wait any longer. She'd be a bit early to meet Tristan and Mina, but the extra time along the ocean's edge would only soothe her more. Phoebe banked the fire under the beans, then took off. Along the path, she fed old Sam and gave him a few carrots as an extra treat, enjoying the soft fuzz of the unicorn's white muzzle. How she loved that animal. Unicorns, fairies, fauns, and merfolk. Magical creatures of all kinds made life worth living. She petted his nose and he left damp waffles in her hair, bringing a smile to her face. She continued on down the path to the shore. No fairies gleamed in the trees today. Where Sierra went, Queenie went too, taking all of her wee fairies in a glowing cloud of sparkles on their journeys. Phoebe missed the tiny fairies' cheerful presence, the constant proof and celebration that magic